Today we're going over my list of the top 25 free agents for this year. Before we begin, I have to say there's like 5 to 10 guys that could have easily made this list. But if there's anything I realized in making this, it's that it's really hard to get down to a list of 25. So please keep that in mind if you see a good player not on the list. Starting with 25, even though Casey Hayward is getting up there in age, I had to fit him onto this list after a great bounce-back year with the Raiders. If he doesn't return to Las Vegas, I'd like to see him sign a one-year mercenary-type deal with a contender. Another player here who had a bit of a career resurgence. Once Melvin Ingram was traded to the Chiefs, he looked 3-4 years younger. He doesn't have the gaudy sack totals, but when you watched the Chiefs this year, you could tell he was making a difference. With age and some injury concerns, he isn't going to play too many snaps, but that also means a team could be getting a good player at a bit of a discount. Next up, Hassan Reddick has been top 5 in sacks over the last 2 years. If your team needs an edge rusher, then this will be a good free agency class for you. With Reddick, he's proven his 2020 was no fluke, and he's going to be a guy going forward who can get after the quarterback with the best of them. Quandre Diggs became the Seahawks' best player on the defensive side of the ball, but he suffered a terrible broken leg injury late in the year. On a positive note, the injury isn't expected to affect his availability for next season, so although it may have cost him some money, he can still return and be ready for another Pro Bowl caliber year. Carlton Davis is a good young corner, which means he should have a strong market going for his talents. He can match up in man and deliver timely turnovers. He did have a quad injury last year, but at the age of 25, things are looking up for him. Dalton Schultz's career arc has surprised me because he's been far more productive in the NFL than he ever was in college. He's coming off his best year yet with over 800 receiving yards. On top of that, he can be a fairly effective blocker as well. With Gronk's age, injury history, and potential retirement, I got Schultz as my number 1 free agent tight end. Next, we got another Cowboy with Michael Gallup. I think there's an assumption that Gallup's numbers could explode as he becomes more of a focal point on a different offense than the Cowboys. That could certainly happen, but he does need to provide more consistency. No matter what, though, he's proven he can be a dynamic, field-stretching receiver. Jadeveon Clowney has been living off these one-year free agency deals for a while now. When playing alongside Myles Garrett, Clowney had one of the highest pass rush win rates in the NFL. He's proven to be a consistent player in the league and has earned himself a raise in the past year. Devondre Campbell having an all-pro caliber season came way out of left field. The Packers signed him to a one-year, $2 million deal last year that became one of the best bargains in all of football. This year, he'll be looking to cash in, but teams are going to be slightly worried about him becoming a one-year wonder. Chandler Jones has been near the top of the pass rushing pyramid for the last decade now. Even though he's 32, there will still be plenty of demand because Jones pretty much guarantees a strong performance year in, year out. Next up, Randy Gregory, a guy who certainly has the skill to belong on this list, but also comes with a checkered past. This past year, though, when he was healthy, was probably his best year in the league. Another great pass rushing talent on the market. Allen Robinson was kinda hard to rank. Throughout his career, it seemed he had proven to be quarterback proof, but this past year with Justin Fields was an absolute dud. Robinson does deserve some blame, and it may seem crazy to rank a guy on here who scored 1 touchdown in 12 games, but that's just a sign for how good he could be if he lands in the right spot. Next, we got Harold Landry. Reliable, durable edge rushers are bound to get paid, and I think Landry is in for a big payday. He's coming off a 12-sack year and is still just 26. Tyrann Mathieu feels older than this, but he's actually just 30. So as one of the best safeties we've seen in the last decade, he'll be in line for a good deal. Whoever signs him also gets a guy who can quickly become the heart of a defensive unit. Stephon Gilmore will be 3 years removed from his Defensive Player of the Year award. This past season, he was still good even after coming back from a major injury. Outside corners are extremely valuable, and Gilmore can still play. Mike Williams is coming off his best season yet as he ranked 12th in receiving yards across the league. Justin Herbert wants him back, but there will be plenty of teams looking for a big play threat who can help inject some life into their offense. Jesse Bates didn't play as well this past season as he did in his fantastic 2020 season, but during the playoffs this year, he was arguably the Bengals' best player. So he probably made himself several million off the last 2 months alone. I'm assuming the Bengals will tag him if they can't get a long-term deal done. Brandon Scherf would be even higher on this list if he could stay healthy. He's for sure one of the best guards in the league, and Washington has tagged him for 2 seasons in a row. He didn't allow a single sack last year. It's really just durability concerns. Von Miller's gonna come with a Super Bowl winning player tax. It seems any player coming off a championship manages to get a couple million more on their next deal. And for all the talk about Cooper Kupp and Aaron Donald, I'm not sure the Rams even get to the Super Bowl without making that Von Miller trade. He proved he's still elite during that playoff run. Next, Orlando Brown. The Chiefs are probably going to do everything they can to keep him protecting Mahomes' blind side. He's established himself as one of the best left tackles in the league, and he's only 26. To make matters more impressive, that was his first year in the Chiefs system, so things should only get better. Teams in need of a free safety should be lining up to pay Marcus Williams. He provides sideline-to-sideline coverage and rarely misses a game. Really, ever since he's entered the league, he's been one of the best at his position. Chris Godwin tore his ACL in 2021, and he's had some other injury issues in recent years. But he's expected to make a full recovery, and I don't think teams will shy away from paying him the big bucks. He can attack a defense at every level and can find the soft spots in zone coverage better than almost any receiver in the NFL. The Saints will have a hard time fitting Teron Armstead into their cap this year, so we could have one of the best tackles in the league on the open market. If Trent Williams got around $23 million a year, then Armstead should get around maybe $20 million a year. Next, J.C. Jackson is one of the premier ball hawks in the NFL. No player has had more interceptions than him since he entered the league. He can also cover man-to-man at an elite level as well. The Patriots would be smart to tag him, but there's a chance they use that as a tag and trade play, so other teams should remain interested. Finally, number 1 was pretty easy to rank. No matter where Davante Adams ends up, whether he's in Green Bay, tagged and traded, or signed somewhere else, he's undoubtedly a top player at his position and could very well become the highest paid receiver of all time.